you gotta show them the striations real quick. My striations say otherwise. Jacked. That's my name, man.
What's my name?
I think not.
What's my name?
All right, bro. Let's do it to it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of the Triad Health Podcast. This is Jack Cernette speaking, and then my co-host is
Taylor Smith.
The suspense was killing me for a second there.
You know
how to make an
entrance.
entrance.
It's gonna be.
It could be anything or anyone, especially if this is your first time listening and or watching on the video. Today during episode 4, we're going to circle back to the aspect of fitness, which is one of the 3 parts of the triad of health. And episode 1 of our entire podcast was fitness. Then we talked about nutrition as episode 2. Episode 3 was mental health. As I said, now we're back to fitness. And for today's episode, we're going to be spitting fire, riffing, talking about stuff. What exactly might we summarize really quick, Taylor? What do you think the listeners are going to get out of this episode? What are we going to talk about?
There's gonna be some gems in this episode. For sure. We're gonna talk
Jewels,
about
dude.
straight up rubies, or
Yeah, diamonds. Diamonds are better.
now we're gonna talk about recovery methods, different recovery methods. I keep wanting to use the term biohacking, but not really, sort of.
Yeah, and that also might be
Sort
a
of.
vague term to a lot of the listeners. They're
This
probably like,
isn't- yeah,
is
this
this
isn't
science
right.
class, Taylor?
This isn't science class.
But that's we can explain that later. Go ahead.
Talk about overtraining. We're
Okay.
also going to talk about some of our favorite exercises. Some of the best exercises in general for building strength and also preventing injuries with whatever strength program that you're following. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I probably know quite a bit about training through injuries, and by injuries, there's a spectrum to that. There's a range.
oh yeah.
Like right now, currently, I'm training around messed up foot. I don't think it's either broken or whatever, but the point is I can't use it as much as I would when I'm 100% healthy. And obviously, we've talked about in other episodes how many injuries I've had in the past, and Taylor's had to train through a lot of different injuries as well. And I mean, you agree, right? I mean, don't you think injuries are, whether it's pulled hamstring and you have to train around that, or actually a serious surgical injury?
For sure, yeah. You can definitely speak a lot more on the injury side of things. I've definitely been very, very lucky to not have a whole lot of really intense
Like,
injuries.
I guess major,
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially people that compete, I don't compete in sport right now. I think a lot of people are walking around pretty banged up.
Yeah, I mean, you've also trained and talked with people and coached people who I guarantee have nicks and bruises. I don't know all the people you coach and train and give advice to. Now you're really short compared to me.
No.
I guess he wants to be even shorter. I'm 6'5". Taylor's, let's just say 5 something.
4'3". That's what
That's right. He is standing up right now. You can't see, but he's actually not sitting. For the people watching the video, if you can't see his legs, he's actually standing. Not really. That'd be kind of cool. So I mean, you not just because you haven't necessarily experienced a ton yourself, you have worked with and talked to plenty of athletes and or individuals just trying to get healthy and during fitness who have gone through and trained through injuries as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we can go ahead and transition into overtraining from there.
Yeah, we'll start with that, man. I mean, this is go ahead.
Yeah, so first off, people are like, well, what does that mean, overtraining? There's a lot of ways to tell if you are overtraining. I mean, what works for me, I lift probably 3 or 4 days a week.
Do you work out 3 or 4 days a week, or do you lift?
I lift
clarify
weights
that.
3 to 4 days a week.
Okay.
And I sprint typically 1 or 2 days a week. I do a lot of kettlebell and gymnastic work and stuff like that. But I think you have to be real specific when you're talking about overtraining, because if we're talking about professional athletes, you are probably going to be some degree of overtraining, whether you're an MMA athlete or a CrossFit athlete or something along those lines. However, it gets real scientific. So
it does get very scientific, and there's a lot of different details depending on the person. And when it comes to a high-level athlete, whether they're professional or they're just training and moving their body a lot, someone told me this one time, I thought it was amazing. You gotta pick your spots with it. You know,
Absolutely.
if you're training for a race or a competition or a game, you know, you obviously taper your training based
Sure.
on that schedule. But there's plenty of different MMA fighters, CrossFitters, any other American sport, soccer, football, baseball, who in their training camp or maybe midweek practice, they are, you know, based on science and evidence and studying muscle fibers and stuff, they are overtraining.
Right.
But then again, that doesn't mean that maybe someone, you know, that for some reason I immediately thought like someone listening to this who's not necessarily a high level athlete or training 6+ days
Yeah.
a week, they might think, oh, you know, I trained 3 days, but I'm overtraining now, so I'm going to take. You know,
Right.
we'll explain the levels to that. But
yeah, so I guess let's just focus on one demographic of people.
We'll start
talk
with
about
the-
athletes and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So right now, let's talk about just your average person and the average person wanting to lift and get healthy and get shredded and stuff like that, you know. So how to know if you're overtrained? Well, there's some easy indicators to know if you're overtrained, right? If you're not sleeping very well, if you're waking up in the middle of the night, if you're not getting boners.
it's true, actually. I mean, that.
Moment of silence. No, just kidding. It's true.
No, it's. I know we joke around, you know, here and there, but that's actually true.
That's true. That's definitely a sign of an indication of endocrine system and nervous system stress for sure.
Or you just super drunk. I'm kidding. No. But just from training, yes, that's true. What did you say about the endocrine and nervous system? Just so they can actually.
That's a good sign that your endocrine system and your
Nervous system
are
and
both stressed.
your CNS, central nervous
You're not-
system, is just
you're not,
blown out.
You're not
So
getting the wood. More
Yeah.
Not getting the wood. Like, you don't want to be. Whatever.
for guys, obviously,
Yeah.
for females, is there
If you're not getting it
any
up.
telltale signs?
That's a good question. I can't speak for females.
I know, but like, but there's some that go hand in hand with both males and females. Not necessarily, you know what I mean? Like for me, obviously, one is I've had now I'm drawing a blank on it, but muscle soreness, like really bad though.
Delayed onset muscle soreness.
Yes, but I got rhabdomyolysis. I've had it 3 times in my life.
Yes. Terrible.
And there's a fine line. You gotta know when something's like a good sore and you're just tired because you worked hard and it's not necessarily overtraining, or something that is like, wow, your muscle fibers are dying, you're gonna poison your blood. That's rhabdo. We should talk about a couple of different things like that in a future episode, but there is that we're trying to explain right now. I mean,
It'd be really cool to get like a real like female athletic figure on like, athlete that knows like, you know, hey, like, because like I know for me, I know when I know that I'm overtrained.
Yeah.
It's hard to say like for a female.
but also,
Yeah.
as you were saying, yeah, it is hard to say for a female, but there's some things like females have muscle soreness just like males. I mean, there's some things that carry over to both.
That's something too. So like muscle soreness, when you can be completely recovered muscularly, musculoskeletally. Is that a word? I don't even know.
Yeah, maybe not skeletally,
Whatever,
but
it is
your
not
musculoskeletal system.
your musculoskeletal system could be completely recovered as far as you could have no soreness, but you could, you know, your nervous system might not be recovered. That's where those cool little
Exactly.
you know, high-tech devices come in, like the Whoop or the Aura Ring. Those are a couple.
Yeah, shout out to those.
Shout out to those guys. I haven't been wearing my Whoop lately.
But since we're talking about right now the kind of average just human who's just trying to do fitness to become healthier, like we said, the muscle soreness is one. And you got it. Everyone. Taylor said you know when you're overtrained because you just know how you feel.
Exactly.
I know that too, but it is different to an extent for each person. Some people have different pain tolerances. So someone who has a sore calf from maybe doing a lot of like calf explosions or extensions and stuff might be like, oh, overtrained, but in reality you're just sore because your muscle is growing. You know what I mean? Right. So you gotta kind of test the waters. If you're so sore with your muscle fibers and muscles that it hurts to like walk upstairs and walk, that's when you know you need to rest.
Of course. Absolutely.
If you're just sore, you know, if it hurt, for me, when I had rhabdo every time, I had rhabdo in my abdominals, rhabdo in my thighs a separate time, and my last time recently I had rhabdo in my calves. It hurt not even moving, and if anyone just barely just touched my muscle, excruciating pain. That's obvious that I'm you're a little overtrained. But you know, muscle soreness in general is not a bad thing.
Not at all.
It's when it's muscle pain. I think that's a big differentiator, muscle soreness to muscle pain.
Sure.
Anything else that you think besides the soreness and just the fatigue factor?
Yeah, that's another one I was gonna say is fatigue, like chronic fatigue. If you're having chronic fatigue, like
Maybe
we said,
sleep problems. I don't
yeah,
know.
sleep problems. Sleep is a big one. You should definitely be aiming for at least 7 hours, at least.
We could talk about sleep on a whole episode on sleep, which would be interesting because that can go hand in hand with fitness and mental health.
Yeah,
And even your nutrition can affect your sleep. So that's a whole
absolutely
rabbit hole we could go down. But
yeah, sleep is and
sleep's interesting too because how many hours on average do you think on like an ideal week, if you had a perfect week with your schedule and stuff, how many hours per night do you sleep?
I prioritize my sleep. So
Okay.
I sleep typically about between 8 and 8.5 hours sleep.
Okay, so that's you. For me,
Like, spot on 8.5.
And you
I'm not
feel-
talking like laying down. I'm not
Right.
talking about from the time I get in bed. I mean like when I sleep.
when your
When
eyes,
my eyes
when
are
you're
shut.
unconscious and you're dead asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in deep REM sleep. So 8.5 hours. See, for me, I know for a fact, and you feel totally rested, first of all. That's plenty for you. You feel ready to go, energized.
Some days, yeah. Some days I don't. Some
Yeah,
days,
that's true.
some
And
days
maybe
I
that's
don't.
you're overtrained. Maybe that's when you realize you're overtrained.
Absolutely, yeah. I like using devices like the Whoop. Aura Ring is another one. It's called an Aura Ring.
How do you spell that?
A-U-R-A, I think.
A-U-R-A. Yeah, you're right.
Let's
You're
look
right.
it up real quick. I need
Yeah,
to-
you can look it up while I talk for a second. So Taylor was saying he gets 8 to 8.5 hours of sleep, and he feels
No,
for the
I
mo-
take that back. O-U-R-A.
O-U-R-A, Aura Ring. O-U-R-A. So for Taylor, like you said, and I'll let you talk about that in 1 second, but hey, we're popular. We're blowing up on our cell phones here. I get less than 8 hours almost every night, but I feel totally rested, amazing. My sleep quota has gone down. One, because I got such bad sleep hours. I got used to sleeping less from being in the hospital so much, but also, I mean, I don't eat within 3 hours of going to bed, so my body's not trying to digest food when I sleep. So the point is, everyone's got their different pain tolerance, different soreness levels, and different sleep. But I think you definitely, the goal is to wake up and not feel like you're dragging until noon. And that's when you know you probably should sleep more, right?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of factors to the equation as far as the fatigue thing goes. I think a lot of people hit afternoon fatigue because they're chronic carbohydrate burners and they're consuming tons of carbohydrates. They get up in the morning and have a bagel and then caffeine. Yeah, but that's a different conversation for a nutrition podcast.
Yep. So you think fatigue, muscle soreness, anything else up to I can't think
I think the biggest indicators are sleep. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, if you can't sleep very well, if your sleep latency is horrible, which means if you have a lot of time, a lot of trouble falling asleep, basically. And then chronic fatigue is another one.
I think what's important too is, unless you are only doing your fitness and working out, like maybe around your neighborhood or at home in like a gym you have at home or something, assuming most of you are probably go to some sort of facility, gym, group workout, I would ask someone who works there who's maybe a trainer or something, do you think I'm overtraining? Like, because it's hard if you are a beginner to fitness, or you maybe you've been going working out, maybe running every day for the past 3 years, but you've never really even thought about the subject of overtraining. I would ask a professional at the nearest by. You can even walk into a gym if you don't go there and just spend 10 seconds saying, "Hey, do you think I'm overtraining? I'm experiencing this, this, and this." And that's a good way to double check. Because when I first started CrossFit training when I was a senior in high school, I mean, I would overtrain on accident. And then finally I would ask my coach, I'd be like, all right, I'm feeling like this, this, and this. Do you think I should slow down? And they would tell you yes or no, or, So I think that's a good thing to do. Taylor and I have been doing it long enough, and we know how we feel when we are way overtrained, and we know how we feel when we could probably put more hours in.
Right.
So it's different per person, but for just the general human being who's not a high-level athlete or professional, that might be a very helpful thing to do.
Good place to start.
Yes.
Yeah, so overtraining, I think, when in regards to training, so if we talk about like your average gym goer, average CrossFitter, you don't want to overdo especially like the metcons and the lifting, I don't think that unless you're training for
A
specific competition, or you're training for a specific event, or you're training for sport, there's no real reason to work out 3 times a day. It's not going to help your longevity for sure. It's 100% not going to. I don't care what anybody says.
Taylor, do you remember? Taylor sent me a picture, or he sent me a screenshot of a guy's Instagram. How old is he? 48. He is absolutely shredded. Looks like a superhero carved out of, gold. And he only works out 45 minutes at the most when he does. And yes, and he only works out 3 or 4 days a week. He's 48, 45 minutes. He's getting a lot of efficiency and a lot done in 45 minutes. He's not sitting there and resting for 10 minutes in between movements. But he could not be more more chiseled and fit, and he's only working out 45 minutes 4 days a week.
Yeah, if you're looking to be shredded, in shape, feeling good, vitality, longevity,
into old age,
then you want to focus on everything outside of the gym. So you want to focus on the quality of time that you spend in the gym training, and that may not mean intensity every day.
Correct.
People say that too. That's another thing that I disagree with. That intensity is everything, and intensity. Not necessarily. I think,
on the days you program intensity.
I think going hard a couple days a week in a metcon, or hard sprints once or twice a week, that's money, right? But doing that every single day, you're putting a lot of stress on your heart in not a good way. So
that's also going to overtrain.
Exactly. That will lead into overtraining.
Go ahead.
So yeah, if you're looking for longevity, if you're looking to really increase your health span, then
I think this applies.
And like we said, Paul Sklar, an hour in the gym a day, 5 days a week.
He's in and out, and he is healthy. His daily functional activities, bending down and grabbing something off the ground, reaching up to a cabinet, he feels great. He's 48 years old. A lot of 40-year-olds, I'm willing to guess right now, wouldn't feel that amazing because they're either not working out or they're way overdoing it. What I think was interesting too is, this guy, and in general, Taylor and I have adapted our training to, like you said, 2 or 3 intense sessions, workout sessions a week. On the days when I'm not doing those intense sessions, some people might think, oh, but you don't, what's the point? You're not really benefiting. Well, I do. There's lots of different things you can do on the days that aren't as intense. Tempo reps, accessory work.
Sure.
If you love bodybuilding, just go stare at the mirror and do your biceps to your little heart's desire. But
that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing with fitness too is whatever type of training that you like. There's so many different methodologies. There's bodybuilding. There's powerlifting. There's CrossFit. There's kettlebell training. I know for me, I love bodyweight training and kettlebell training. I do like the big lifts, like the power lifts and sprints. I think those are the exercises where you're gonna get the most bang for your buck.
And you even just said earlier in the day, Taylor, you said, I mean, in a week, you could probably come with more, but you're programming as we speak 100 different bodyweight movements, which are all effective. That's just one example right there. So that's stuff you could either do on your intense days or your kind of just.
Are you talking about the ebook?
Yes,
I'm writing an ebook. It's I actually changed it. I was going to do an 8-week progressive program that I had completely written, and then I completely scrapped it. And I was like, I want to make something more accessible to people. So I'm writing a 100. It's called. We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to help a lot of people. But it's called 100. What do I have? I have the title in here.
He just changed it, so it's not like he's been working on this for a year. So that's why
it's 100 bodyweight workouts. It's called the Bodyweight Nomad 100. That's what I'm going to call it. And it's 100 workouts. It's got fundamentals, plyometrics. It's got finisher workouts. It's got ab workouts, hypertrophy work. It's got all that stuff in it. It's 100 fucking workouts.
I'm a big believer in it. If you guys don't already follow Taylor on Instagram, what's your Instagram really quick, just so they can, if this is someone's first time?
It's tailored, TAYLORED _SC, strength conditioning.
So at tailored_SC. I mean, if you hear him talking about his ebook, you might be like, I don't know. Look at his Instagram. Oh my! I mean, his content videos are ridiculous.
You won't hype me up at all.
No, I'm just saying that's
not coming out for a little while. I'm working on that.
Correct.
Right now, so.
But also just with the body weight, I mean, you can overtrain that.
Yeah.
Really, that's how I got rhabdo last time. I did too many calf raises on the edge of a stair.
You have a health condition though. So that's
Right,
what
and but you can still, I do have some blood flow restriction problems because of my chronic illness, so I'm actually more prone to get muscle soreness, fatigue, and rhabdo. But still, if you haven't ever trained your calves before, or maybe haven't done push-ups in a long time, and all of a sudden you rep out maybe 100 or more in one sitting, that's gonna be a rough couple days.
Slow. Yeah, if you're new to working out, like you said on the pilot episode, you gotta start slow.
Even if you're not new,
you gotta start
if
slow.
you're new to a certain movement, or even a certain weight that you're lifting, you chill, bro. Because it's better to be safe and sorry in regards to starting slower or lighter than going for balls to the wall, showing off in front of your bros or your homies or your girlfriends at the gym, and then sitting at home being so sore for a week you can't even train.
Or injured.
And that happens to elite athletes too. Even when I was in the peak of my CrossFit training for CrossFit competitions, there was definitely some weeks leading up to competitions where I was an idiot, overdid everything, went more than just the percentages on my weightlifting numbers, and it cost me.
So let's talk about that. You trained at CrossFit Invictus for a long time.
Yeah, so I trained at CrossFit Invictus for 3 to 4 years, and then for about a year and a half I trained at another CrossFit gym in San Diego called Troy CrossFit. Shout out to Troy CrossFit, it's an amazing gym. CrossFit Invictus is also in San Diego. And I trained there for more than just Metcons and CrossFit, because someone who doesn't know what CrossFit is, they might just immediately think, oh, it's just working out fast and Metcons. I also did tons of Olympic lifting, which is the snatch and the clean and jerk. They have tons of powerlifting equipment there. They had open gym, which was great. But what was your question basically besides?
So you trained, like, what was the training like? You did
so when I was doing competitions, I was a competitive CrossFitter for almost 5 years out in San Diego. In fact, that was how I made some money while I was in school at San Diego State. I was already in the gym a bunch, so I figured, well, if I'm already in the gym a bunch training, I might as well try to do a competition and make prize money, so I don't have to spend even more time on a part-time job when I'm in school full-time. So that's actually what I did. The prize money wasn't that crazy, but you do a one-day competition, win $500. I think that's pretty much worth it to me. But I did train. So if you want to talk about overtraining real quick, I definitely, when I first started getting that competitive CrossFit environment, I did 2-a-days, 6 days a week. And on the rest day, I would still do something to breathe heavy. It wouldn't be any lifting weights, but it'd be some sort of cardio to breathe heavy. And some training sessions in like the middle of the, training camps leading up to the big competition, I'd do 3 days. So I would break it up into only gymnastics for 1 hour in the morning, do all gymnastic stuff, muscle ups, toes to bar, gymnastics accessory work, because in CrossFit you have a lot of gymnastic type movements, handstand push-ups. Then after lunch I would do an hour of Metcons, so all different kinds of workouts. Metcons are like workouts for time, and you can Google it and find out more information if you don't already know what those are. And then at night I'd do an hour of just purely weightlifting, just slinging weights. That, even at the age I was, I'm only 25 right now, and even now, that is a lot of, work on your body. And I was smart about it. Eventually I started to taper down, especially leading up to the competitions, but even longevity-wise, I went so hard for at least a month leading to competitions, and then I would taper down and lower my volume in the gym for the 2 weeks before. But even then, if I kept doing that, I'm risking injury, I'm risking more rhabdo. And for overall, eventually I would stop doing competitions like I am now, but in the long run too, if someone's in that lifestyle for fitness competitions or even high level sports, and you're just in the gym, always training, like, you're getting told to go home, you're gonna hurt yourself. Longevity, you're gonna shorten your career, you're gonna have random pains. There's so many injuries of mine that were from overtraining because I'm dumb. Eventually I learned my lesson. But 3 days, 2-a-days. For a while when I was trying to gain weight, all I did was eat 8 times a day and only lift weights. I had one conditioning workout a week. The rest of the time I was just slinging the weights at the weight buffet, dude. Going back for seconds, man. Weight buffet.
That's how you have to train though, if you want to train.
Yes, if you're at that level, and even then, there's smarter ways to do it than I did it, and you'll learn and adapt as you go. And the key was I had some great people in my ear telling me, helping me out, coaching me, about just the schedule I was on and stuff. And even when I first started, I started lifting weights, going to a gym, working out on my own outside of sports practices when I was 12 years old. I'm not sure when did you kind of just start actually doing stuff outside of PE class? If you can't remember,
14.
14? Okay, so the point is, I even overdid that. I would go to sports practice when I was in 6th grade, I was 12. I go to my soccer, baseball, basketball, football, whatever practice I was doing that day, and I'd come home and run more and then do push-ups in my driveway until I couldn't anymore. And that definitely hindered my performances in the games, and it caused unnecessary amounts of pain.
Yeah.
Like, it was injuries too.
Yeah.
I mean, I broke my left foot twice when I was in 8th grade because of overtraining. So, anyways, yes, there's a little example for you what it looks like for taking it from me and what not to do. And the cool thing is now I don't do that, so you can learn and change. You just got to have more self-awareness. I was not self-aware at all. I thought the more hours in the gym, the better.
Yeah.
I thought the harder I go. I want to lay on the ground for 10 minutes reeling in pain after every workout. Otherwise, it wasn't worth it.
That's 100%.
Couldn't be more wrong.
That's 100% okay that's 100% okay to do. But
yes, that's, we're not going to tell you guys what to do here. That's totally fine. But we're talking about health, overall health, and longevity.
Exactly.
So you would agree that if you're training for a certain event or competition, that's actually fine. But even then, you probably want an off season of some sort.
You want definitely, periodization.
You
Periodization. I mean, you see a lot of these top athletes like Matt Fraser in the CrossFit game. We can use CrossFit as an example.
Matt Fraser's 4-time fittest man on earth. He takes 2 months off out of the year.
Yeah, important to do, especially for your body and you're putting a lot of stress on your body. On your joints.
You know what's crazy too is I took 3 weeks off from squatting because I had a little tweak in my hip. I didn't squat, didn't even use my legs in anything for 3 weeks. I came back and PR'd my back squat the first day back. And I don't think that's a coincidence because I just let my lower body rest. My CNS is better, my joints, my muscles got an actual chance to just chill. Right. So that, and that's not going to happen every time. We're not going to put a guarantee on that, but that's another example. Like, it's not bad for you to rest. Especially certain body parts, training around recovery and training around injuries, which is something we can actually talk about. Which we are going to talk about eventually.
It's hard, man. Sometimes it's hard to rest. Like, we're kind of, for me, I'm a total gym rat. Like, it's hard to rest. I want to train all the time. I want to work out all the fucking time, but your body is going to tell you otherwise.
I mean, and would you agree with this statement? With all 3 aspects of the triad of health, of fitness, nutrition, and mental health, if you are obsessing over it, overdoing it, and always worrying about things you can do more to get better, in itself, that's unhealthy.
Unhealthy, absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I wanted to talk about that too. So fitness is not just about what you do in the gym, it's more what you do outside of the gym. We talked about Paul Spar working out. He's 48, I think, 47.
Yeah, he's up in his 40s.
An hour a day, gets the most out of his sessions. But then, what do you do outside of the gym? How's your nutrition? How's your relationships? How's your, how's all that stuff?
Hydration.
How's your hydration?
During the day, how's your posture? I'm a hypocrite because I've been kind of slouching because I'm really tall and this mic's a little low. But believe it or not, posture, especially after eating, it's more and more people are researching this stuff, and people who are doctors and stuff, and I've even noticed in my own life, posture is huge. If you're slouched over after eating, all your organs decompress and makes digestion tougher. That seems like common sense, but no one really thinks about it. Posture is huge. Posture will also help your sleep and everything. So that's outside the gym, even in the gym. After a set, if you're on like a bench doing dumbbell work, or if you're sitting down between squat reps, are you sitting down hunched over, just or you're trying to keep good posture, maybe put your hands above your head, trying to breathe. So posture's huge, hydration, relationships. What else do you think?
There's a ton of things that people should be doing outside of their training gym. I think breath work is really important.
What'd you say? Sorry.
Breath work.
Okay.
So we may have mentioned that on a previous podcast.
100% agree.
Breath work is really important. I know for me, I chronically, I have a deviated septum, so it's hard for me to breathe out of my right nostril. There's when I breathe out, there's air not coming out of my right
and if the camera could zoom in, you would see this crooked little crookedness in Taylor's nose. So
so breath work is really important, and of course postural work is
very
important as
well. Right, and the other thing we're talking about outside the gym, this is all going to help your fitness, because this is obviously the fitness episode, but all this stuff will increase your fitness, also your effectiveness of what you're doing in the gym. Because if you're working hard in the gym for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, but you're slouched all day, or you're not hydrating, or you're angry and yelling at people all day, it's kind of going to hinder your benefits of actually doing fitness.
I was just thinking about my girlfriend. She was like, I always tell her about my nose. I'm like, oh, my nose is fucked up today. And she's like, I'm tired of hearing about your damn nose, dude.
I'm tired of looking at it.
So the next 30 minutes of this podcast is going to be all about my fucking nose.
I'm tired of looking at it. I can't even look at this damn guy. All right, we'll catch you in about 2 seconds.
All right.
So yeah, I'm tired of looking. God, dude, I'm kidding. It's not that obvious. I had a deviated septum. I broke my nose 3 times in my life. I had surgery twice. The other time, it was just a minimal. It's hard to explain. So I broke it the first time, and I broke it worse, and that's when I got the second surgery, and then the third surgery was when I broke it again. But it's a real thing.
Yeah.
If you can't breathe through your nose, which we can talk about breathing for 30 minutes at least, but nose breathing is something you should always be doing.
Yeah.
Always. And we can give some resources and some people who actually are professionals and experts on this.
Let's give a couple of those resources actually right now.
I'm trying to think of, what was that guy I sent you, Patrick McEwen or something? We'll come up with that guy, but go ahead.
Wim Hof for sure.
Wim Hof
breathing method. I know Ben Greenfield's talked about a couple of breathing techniques like box breathing. I think it's a 4 count in, 4 count hold, 4 count out.
I do that before my speaking gigs because it helps me not only calm down. I don't get like that anxious anymore, nervous at all. But even if I just feel amazing before a speaking gig, before a big rep, before a PR attempt, before a long run, if you can slow your heart rate down, you're going to be way better in your fitness or in anything in life. So box breathing is something I do all the time. So yeah, it's 4 seconds in, 4 second hold, 4 seconds out, and I just do that 4 times. So go ahead.
So
Ben Greenfield,
we know Wim Hof.
Wim Hof is great. He's got some very specific methods for different things, but in general, for daily breathing, you always going to want to breathe through your nose.
Anybody doesn't know,
especially when you sleep.
If anybody doesn't know who Wim Hof is, you need to check that guy out. He is the guy who hiked Mount Everest in shorts and a t-shirt, or no shirt.
No shirt.
I don't think he had shoes on either.
I think he just had a pair of socks, to be honest.
Pair of socks, something like that. Yeah, crazy. He has a crazy breathing.
He's got this breathing technique that helps not only just calm your mind, it also calms your body, your mitochondria. It's crazy. It sounds like it's a made-up whiffy thing, but if you actually Google or YouTube him, and there's another gentleman, I can't think of his name right now, but he works with NFL athletes, UFC fighters, MLB athletes, and he teaches them all how to breathe properly during particularly fitness. I think I sent it to you on a. We'll come up with his name in 1 second. And he also has a company, and he's got all these free training videos. And the big thing that he also talks about is when you sleep, there's a lot of mouth breathers out there. If you can sleep through your nose, your sleep quality is going to go up. You're not going to have sleep apnea, and so on and so on. So and when you're working out too, if you breathe through your nose, your lung capacity and therefore your aerobic capacity is going to go through the roof compared to heavy breathing through your mouth.
This guy.
Yeah, I was almost right. Patrick McEwen. His name is Patrick, and then his last name is spelled M, lowercase c, and then uppercase Keown. He has the Boudico Clinic. Boudico is the name of the guy who basically was he started the whole research and implementing breathing techniques to the world. He's a Russian dude.
He's a nasal breathing guy, right?
Yes, and so the Boudico Clinic International, it's the world's leading authority on this particular breathing method, and he works with tons of different athletes. If you want to go to the website to expand on what we're talking about with breathing, which is so important for not only your everyday life, but fitness as well, is BUTEYKO and then clinic.com. So BUTEYKO clinic.com. There's a bunch of free material on there and everything. So that's something that's super important to add to your repertoire. If you can say that 10 times.
Repertoire.
He messed up. You fucked up, dude.
Yeah, too.
I can't even. Now I can't look at your nose, and now I can't even look at your face because you fucked up.
God, shit.
I know. I'm actually not mean. I'm just giving him a hard time for people who are
Let's
just
give a
watching this for the first time.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
I like
Hey, soon, you know.
I like that.
So just really quick, we'll do a little plug here. Soon we're gonna have our Triad Health Podcast logo on a banner. We're either gonna put it in front of this table or on this whiteboard in the back, just to show people we're not just in a random shed with 2 mics, just to add more professional.
We
This is
gotta be
only our
set up.
fourth. Yeah, we
It's
gotta be
gotta be
set
set
up too. This table is diagonal. We have 2 mics that actually work. We're actually getting things going.
I know.
I mean, this is only our 4th episode, so give us a break for a little bit, but we're gonna continue to
We need
add
an
more
intro
and
song.
more.
We need an intro
I
song.
know.
We got all these ideas.
Guests after, and eventually we're gonna have some guests on.
Definitely want guest song.
Yeah. I mean, so we're continuing to grow this and make this as legit as possible. But that's our plug for now. Segue into the next subject as we continue on with this episode 4 fitness
Okay.
topic.
Let's talk about some real fitness stuff. So let's talk about exercises. Let's talk
Okay.
about best exercises
I like it.
for strength building, and then we'll talk about best
I love it.
exercises for injury prevention and just overall strength and balance in your training program.
When I hear the word strength, I start to drool.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Just like deadlifting.
Oh man, strength just fires me up.
As
Lifting
much as-
heavy weights, oh my eyes get big.
As much of a douchebag bro thing it
Woo!
is to say, deadlifting feels so fucking good.
It's funny, at my gym in San Diego, I went to a global gym in San Diego, and I'm just gonna say this really quick and then we'll actually get to the actual important stuff. There was a part of this gym in San Diego where it was called the gorilla cage, and you could only go into the gym. All the weights in there were just stupidly heavy. Deadlift bars were permanently set to certain weights. All the dumbbells were 85 pounds plus. All the machines had permanent weight on it, so you couldn't adjust it. So if you couldn't lift the weights, you weren't allowed into the gorilla cage.
Wow.
And it was just a bunch of
The opposite
dudes.
of Planet Fitness.
Oh my gosh, it was just a bunch of dudes, a bunch of silverback gorillas. At the time, I was 35 pounds heavier, and I was 6'5", 265, and I looked small next to some of these guys. So the point is, deadlifts, heavy lifting, even for chicks, it will make you feel stronger, more confident. It's kind of a funny joke I'm making, but it's actually true, you know. And Taylor said, you know, deadlifts feel amazing. It makes you feel like a man, you know. But it's true and super beneficial. So back to the real stuff.
Okay, strength exercises. Best exercises for building strength.
Okay.
So, number 1, a bunch of these people have already heard. But the deadlift, of course. I think there's a bunch of different variations of the deadlift.
What does that build? What muscles will that build strength with? Just like the
Oh,
basic
man.
obvious ones. So
Deadlift,
posterior
of course.
chain, probably.
Posterior chain for
Okay.
sure. Legs, hamstrings, glutes.
Glutes.
Um,
Obviously back.
your whole back, basically.
Because when you do a proper deadlift, you're not having your shoulders hunched over. You're actually engaged with the shoulders, so your scap muscles, everything. But a lot of posterior lower body stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the deadlift is such an amazing exercise because I like doing it barefoot, and you
I agree.
really feel every muscle in your feet working as well, all the way up to your skull. I love it. It's a great exercise when done properly. I think that's a caveat with people that are just starting out.
Yeah.
The barbell does have a bit of a learning curve, and you definitely want to make sure that you're doing things like deadlifts and squats with proper form.
And it looks
Before you throw
easy.
it on there.
Yeah, I mean, if you see people on social media or even at the gym do it, if they're doing it right, it looks easy. Oh, you're just picking it off the ground. But
Right.
if you're not used to having the brain body connection of actually moving properly with a barbell or any sort of fitness exercise movement, it's
There's a lot of
gonna be hard. You're gonna have something wrong with your form. No, yeah, I guess wrong is a good word because it's true with your form initially. So, but assuming you know how to do a deadlift, it's amazing for your strength. There's different ways you can do it. There's different grips. There's different types of deadlifts. There's hexagon deadlifts, which you and I love.
Great exercise.
What is that? Just for the person who might not know what
Oh
that is.
man, a hex bar deadlift.
Hex bar deadlifts.
So yeah, you're basically holding it from the sides. So instead of with a conventional
You can
deadlift,
stand up.
yeah, with a conventional deadlift, you're holding it from the front. With a hex bar, you're holding it from the sides. So that's
And there's literally a hexagon metal bar around you. So you're in the middle of this hex bar deadlift, whereas the traditional deadlift is with just a 45-pound barbell for males and a 35-pound
a lot of people
for
find
females.
that safer than a conventional deadlift.
Yep.
I like both.
They both apply different parts of different muscle fibers and
Definitely.
muscle groups too. But yes, there's so many. I mean, That's the beauty of fitness. You and I could sit here for an hour talking about only deadlifts,
I know.
which is crazy. But we'll move on. So that's the first one for
Deadlift.
building strength. Okay.
Carries.
What do you mean by that? For the
So
person who
carrying
might not know.
things, carrying objects. That could be carrying dumbbells at your sides, carrying a sandbag in front of you with like a bear hug, carrying something on your shoulder, doing a buddy carry. Carries cover a lot of ground, and it's a very functional movement. Farmer carries, you see people like strongmen.
You hear that a lot. Farmer carries.
Axle bar carries. That's a big strength movement. I think most people should be incorporating some type of carry. You don't even have to go super heavy on them. You can just go long distance.
Once again, we're assuming form is fine. We're not going to go into detailed form right now, but assuming you know how to do it, carries are huge.
Carries.
I don't know, Taylor, do you want to carry me? Because I think I'm pretty big.
No, fuck that.
But you can do partner carries if the person's equal in size to you.
Yes.
I mean, we don't need to talk about specific numbers, but I am definitely 100 pounds, maybe, not definitely, probably at least 75 pounds heavier than you. So
Definitely.
That would be pretty tough for you to carry me.
Yeah.
Especially even just a piggyback ride, I would probably hurt you.
Yeah.
So be smart about it.
Right, exactly.
But even then, I mean, there's so many things you can do with it. So carries and deadlifts, we said.
Yeah, and this isn't going to be like a 5 best
exercise
thing.
There's so much more.
A whole bunch they're basic exercises, but they're really important, and they're
also easy. I mean, you don't need a ton of equipment.
Yeah, they're not like easy, but they're
easy to get access to.
Exactly.
Accessible. That's the point. Easy was the wrong word. Accessible.
I think from there we can go into a push-up. Push-up is really important for strength development. Body weight. People are like, body weight's so boring. You work your entire body in your body weight movement, with the exception of your low back. I think body weight is.
So since we're talking about strength and we just said body weight, I've always thought, and do you agree with this, that and tons of different professional trainers and coaches and athletes have always said the same thing, so I've always kind of agreed with them. But in regards to strength, if you don't have enough strength to move your body around properly and well, to do pull-ups, push-ups, air squats, planks, then you're gonna have a hard time building strength with equipment.
You hear a lot of guys, a lot of athletes in general.
And it's gonna be tough if you're big.
Yeah, you hear a lot of athletes, high-level athletes, talk about how they started doing push-ups and sit-ups when they were little. That stuff's really important to build a base, and it's important to do all throughout your fitness career. Whether you're a professional athlete or not, I think body weight is really important. And you can get more advanced. You can start adding weight.
Oh yeah.
You can there's tons of different variations of a push-up and a pull-up, which is the next exercise I want to talk about, the pull-up.
Really quick, just for example of strength, I had to take 2 years off. I didn't work out for 2 years because I was just sick in the hospital. When I started getting healthy enough to actually start exercising and doing fitness again, I literally started with only body weight. My strength, even though I was starting from basically zero, my strength increased a ton. My body mass increased, my muscle mass increased. Every day, I did 50 push-ups, and if I couldn't do 50 just regular, I just did 50 on my knees. I did 50 air squats, and then 50 calf raises, and then 50 dips. And with the push-ups though, body weight push-ups, there's parts of my training and when I was a competitive CrossFitter where it doesn't matter what day it was, every single day I did body weight when I woke up in the morning, just to get that foundation, to get me going, to maybe loosen up my muscles, because if something hurts or sore during body weight, it's probably gonna hurt when you add more weight. So yes, body weight push-ups are huge. You said pull-ups, that's still kind of pretty much body, that is body weight, you just need a pull-up bar.
Yep.
So what do you think about pull-ups?
Pull-ups, yeah, absolutely. Pull-ups, you can.
Different variations, just like the push-ups and deadlifts.
Yeah.
And the carries.
Tons of variations. Pulling yourself up to a bar.
What do you think if someone doesn't do pull-ups regularly? What do you think is the 1 or 2 variations they should just start with, or that are probably the easiest for them to start with as their foundation? On a pull-up, yeah.
You talking about fun foundational exercises they can do to build up to a pull-up, or
let's assume they can at least do one pull-up, one full pull-up, and they want to start getting better at using pull-ups as a body weight to get better strength and stuff. Because there's different ways you can grip it, different everything. So what do you think is maybe the best bet? Because for me, off the bat, there's the 2 ways. I think what's the phrasing? And people call it
supinated.
Yeah, pronated grip. So supinated grip is literally, assuming you have soup in your hands, that's the grip that you're going to use on the bar. So if a person's watching you,
be a chin up.
Yeah, be a chin up, which is, same thing as, same kind of movement as a pull-up, but you're gonna have your knuckles facing the person watching you from the front. And then a pronated is when just the kind of standard pull-up that some people might think of.
So you have supinated grip, chin up, pronated.
Supinated grip is, go ahead.
Beginners starting out on pull-ups / chin-ups, I tend to find, especially with some of the people I've worked with, that they have an easier time doing a chin-up than a regular pull-up. But both of those variations are really
super important.
So chin up and pull up.
Chin up is knuckles facing away from you. Pull up is knuckles facing towards you.
You can get real specific. You can get
correct
different variations. You can do V grip pull ups with the little V.
Change your width of grip.
Yeah,
you can add weight.
Yeah, you can add weight. You can do wide grip. You can do narrow.
Because even now, Taylor's working on strength all the time, every week, just like me. But now I do weighted pull ups once a week, once every couple weeks at least. I mean, because Taylor's a little bodyweight ninja. You can do a ton of just bodyweight pull-ups, regular pull-ups, but you add weight. You do weighted pull-ups, you do holds now and stuff. That all adds strength, which is why we're bringing it up as this exercise for strength. So
yeah, absolutely. So other exercises that are really important, the dip.
Explain that to people.
Yeah, so regular bodyweight dip. Most gyms have a dip station.
Would you dip with the dip station, like the grips, or dip on rings, or both?
Rings are quite a bit more advanced, so I wouldn't say people should start with that. But
tough.
For just people in general, some type of dip variation. Let's just keep it a broad audience. So people, for CrossFitters, for average Joes, the dip is good.
Even a high-level athlete doing dips consistently is good, especially if you're doing it properly, which we're assuming you're doing.
Yeah, so that's another one. Squats. I mentioned squats. So we have the back squat, the deadlift, we have push-up, pull-up, dip.
Carries as well.
Carries. That's a good place to start right there.
That's a great starting point. And how often?
I think maybe the only other thing you could throw in there would be like some type of overhead press.
That's true. Even just a dumbbell press,
I think what a lot of people find, if you're gonna do, I'd say a neutral grip press is really good for your shoulders.
And for people not watching, how would you describe a neutral grip?
A neutral grip press. So with a regular press, your hands are in the pronated position. With a neutral grip press, you're sort of in between pronated and supinated. So your hands are sort of.
Can you use a dumbbell or a barbell with? Yeah. Okay.
No.
So that's
unless you're using a hex bar.
That's true.
You can't actually do that.
You can't do it.
I've seen people do that before, but no.
But a neutral grip is easiest with
dumbbells.
Or kettlebells. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
actually take that back. Yes, you can do that, but
one more exercise I want to add.
So we got.
I'll go through them all. Is the Russian kettlebell swing, and I think you can make a really well-rounded program with those. So the deadlift, back squat, some type of press, the Russian kettlebell swing. You have your basic bodyweight movement, so you have your push-up, pull-up, dip.
And the 8th one was the carries.
And carries. So those 8 exercises. You can design an incredible strength program out of just those movements.
That's great for any level of fitness, because if you just pick 2 of those 8, you could write out a program or a plan, because there's so many different variations of each one.
So many variations.
You could change up so much. Even if you just did the same type of push-up, you could change the reps. You could change if you put weight on your back. I mean, it's crazy.
With a squat, there's a ton of variations.
Box squat, stupid.
So you're not squatting at parallel. Say you're not squatting just below. Say you're not comfortable squatting just below parallel. You can squat to a box. I highly recommend squatting to a box, especially for older folks too. It's a lot better. It's a lot easier on your knees, rather.
Very easy on your knees, and if you have bad ankle mobility, way better.
Yeah.
It's also, Taylor and I have been training, we're pretty high level with fitness at this point in our lives, and we still do box squats.
I love box squats, yeah.
It's really, there's benefits to all of it, so I think that's huge, and that's what's coolest about the 8 exercises that mainly Taylor just mentioned, and I kind of just piggybacked off of, is that's applicable to any demographic, which is great, which is really good, because we're trying not to cater towards only elderly, only athletes, or only young adults, or only beginners. I mean, we're trying to, this is something that can apply to everyone, with not only the fitness, but with the other episodes of nutrition and mental health. So is that the 8 we should settle on for now, you think? I think that's great. Those are great.
That's a good place to start.
We might even put them in the description for we might even put them in the description just to remind people in
Yeah.
case they're not writing it down. Maybe they're driving and listening to this. We'll put
Eight
those days,
exercises everybody should be doing, or well, everybody. Most people should be doing
especially trying to build a strength foundation.
for strength foundation. Absolutely. I want to talk about recovery because it's kind of fresh in my mind. I want to talk about recovery methods
Let's do it.
that people can use and implement into their own training. So I want to talk about a few that I use currently that I love.
And I'm sure I do the same things, but we'll see.
Yeah, so
Stay tuned to see.
a lot of people know that I'm really interested in the sauna. There's a ton of research being done on the sauna right now, and that has been done over a long period of time, showing results with increased blood plasma volume and recovery, increased recovery from exercise when the sauna has been done post-workout. There's been studies that have followed, I'm gonna be butchering some of these, but there's been studies that have followed specifically males for like many years, like 20 plus years, and it showed that men who use the sauna like 4 to 6 times per week had like some crazy reduction in all-cause mortality for like 15 to 20 minutes a day.
Yep.
at
And we
180 degrees plus.
180 degrees plus, that's big.
Yeah.
We've talked about in this episode overtraining and injury. Sauna will help with all of the recovery,
Yeah.
with all of that. For injuries, my physical therapist always told me to do a sauna when I had a surgery for an injury because it helps prevent muscle loss while you're not
Yeah.
using those muscles. So
Actually, I just posted a story.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Yeah, that's right.
A link to a research study that was on muscle atrophy.
Muscle atrophy.
Staving off muscle atrophy with a sauna session post-workout. Really cool stuff.
Crazy cool.
Really cool research.
My doctors at KU Med, Kansas University Medical Center, have all been telling me to go to the sauna 2 or 3 days a week at least to help with my kidney disease, to help with all the meds I'm taking. Just in general, it's just really good for you. And we're not just saying that because we like saunas or maybe we have a sauna. There's proof in the pudding. So,
Yeah.
and you've obviously just talked about that.
Yeah, I like the sauna. You can kind of relate it, I guess, a little bit to the feeling that you get after you do a hard like CrossFit workout, like a WOD. You release a lot of endorphins because you're really uncomfortable. You're sitting in that heat, and then when you get out, you release a lot of endorphins.
Do you do sauna and just leave, or sometimes do you do sauna straight into cold?
I have been doing that recently, so I
Okay.
can't speak a lot on scientific stuff on the cold, although there is a large body of research
That's a
on
whole
that
other
as
thing,
well.
and we can come back with resources on that later.
The
But
cold, I know that cold helps. You see a lot of athletes doing it now, like Josh Bridges and obviously Wim Hof and Ben Greenfield.
some of the strongest men on the planet, two of the guys who won the world's strongest man in the last 2 years, at their own house, they have a gigantic hot tub, and then they have a sauna, and then they have a gigantic
Contrast
cold
baths.
tub.
Yeah,
So contrast is great, going from hot to cold specifically. And
Yes.
I've been doing that since Taylor brought it up to me a couple weeks ago. I've actually started doing that. First of
That's
all,
really
it
good.
makes you feel good initially, and if you're dying of the cold, you can always quickly run back into the sauna real quick
Yeah.
and then leave or whatever. But I've been increasing my training for the past month, incrementally every week, and I'm not any more sore or anything. And I think a lot of it has to do with the sauna and other things, diet, nutrition, sleep. But the sauna is super helpful because that's something I didn't do only the past month I've been doing it.
Right. So there is some research that says that you shouldn't use the cold shower or ice bath right after you work out. And I think the only time that it would be okay, apparently it blunts a lot of the hormetic response that
I've
you
heard that
get
too. Yeah.
to doing a hard weight training workout or something like that. So if you're using the cold right after you work out, like a hard weight training session, it can blunt some of the hormetic response that you want when you put your body through that weight training session. So you want to wait at least an hour or two after to do the cold. Now the sauna is a different story. The sauna actually has been shown to help boost that hormetic effect that you get after you work out. So anyways, I think the only reason to be okay, the only circumstance rather to be okay to use the cold post-workout would be like you see CrossFit athletes use it during events post. You're not training to recover from. You're training to recover for your next event you're going to do that day. So an ice bath after the workout immediately might help in that it might help.
It also decreases
You know.
inflammation and swelling in case you have an injury. But in
Exactly.
regards to just recovery for someone who's going to be working out consistently over a week, month, or whatever, like you said, it's probably not the best. But also, I do cold showers mainly in the mornings when I wake up.
That's
I
what I
don't
was gonna say.
exactly. So that's something that's big, and that even helps recover. You don't have to do it mixed with the sauna. It's perfectly fine, and it's probably even better if you just do it on its own.
Are you still walking in the morning too?
Every morning.
Me too. Yeah, that's one thing I posted on my story a lot. I walk every single morning, just about. I walk about 20 minutes when I wake up. I wake up, I drink water.
So you're fasted.
Fasted in the morning. I wake up, I drink water, put some sea salt, Celtic salt in my water with some lemon juice. Drink that, about 12 ounces, and then I take the dog for a walk. About 20 minutes, gets me about a mile, and then I come back. I've been kind of off and on a cold shower, but typically I'll cold shower after the walk in the morning.
And not only with recovery, that helps a lot with just not only getting your body going in the morning, it'll help prevent some delayed onset soreness from your training sessions and workouts early in the week, but also it's really good if you want to, if you're trying to gain strength and possibly you're a guy or girl out there, or guy or lady who out there is trying to gain muscle mass. That is so cool, so cool, so important to do that and not gain body fat. So even myself, so I got a DECA scan. I was telling Terry about this. So I did the fasted cardio or the fasted walk in the morning. Just would drink a gigantic cup of water, and I'd go on my 20-minute walk, 10-minute walk, whatever I had time for. But I wouldn't do it. I would do it on an empty stomach, and I ended up gaining 10 pounds of muscle mass over an extended period of time without gaining body fat percentage. And that's something that's really cool too. It's another extra little benefit. Not only is it good for recovery, but the fasted walk and then the cold shower, and then a good breakfast, and then a good morning. Oh man, you're a superhero.
I want to get Ben Greenfield. If you guys don't know what Ben Greenfield Fitness is, we put out a lot of
We
credits.
talked about it, but just in case.
We put out a lot of credits and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but this, I learned that routine from him for staying lean, and I've been using that for the past couple months now.
Same with me. Yeah, ever since I heard about it, and it was crazy too. It's not just him. Ever since hearing him talk about it and what's worked for him, he also uses it he teaches it to his clients, but I've also heard other athletes, just ironically, good timing, talk about them doing the exact same things postseason or even during the season. So
that's a great way to recover too. The walking, it's a low level activity, but it's not anything that's going to totally burn out your central nervous system.
Do you ever walk post workout, like right away, just to walk things off? Because I know for me, if I was on the ground after an intense training session, I go for a quick, at least a 3-minute walk.
You should definitely cool down. If you do an intense Metcon or something like that, you should at least either hop on the Concept 2 rower in super light rowing.
Yes, it's a recovery. It's not another workout.
Or the Soul Bike for just a light ride or a walk post. You should just to flush your body.
That's also going to help when you're in the car driving home. You won't all of a sudden cramp up, and you're not going to feel like you're 100 years old and you get out of the car and start walking again.
Yeah.
That was miserable for me for a while. Once I actually had recovery post-workout, recovery cool down, and this is not going to take a long time. I would walk for 3 to 5 minutes, maybe mobilize something that might be causing me a little discomfort, go home, and I'm chilling. I'm good. So that's huge for recovery.
Absolutely.
Big.
Man, what else for recovery?
You know,
do you do anything else?
Yeah, so I guess that's probably good.
Sleep. We talked about sleep.
Yeah, that's a good way to kind of start wrapping up this episode, is talk about you and I, what you do specifically, what I do specifically. So for me, let's say I get the workout, no matter what time of day, I have a training session. I work out that day, and it's going to be anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes, depending on the day of the week. Post-workout, so for recovery, 3 days a week, I go to the sauna right away. I try to crank it up to as high as it goes, and I'm in there for anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, this is really hot, 10 minutes, I'm good. I try to go for 20 minutes though, every time. And then when I'm not doing the sauna, that's the days that I go for the walk afterwards, right after I'm done with my training session. Even if it wasn't one of those intense sessions where I'm on the ground rolling around in pain, it hurts to even stand up, I'm out of breath, I still do a 3 to 5 minute walk. I'm guaranteed there's some actual details about like the toxins it releases and stuff, but that's what I do on the days I'm not doing the sauna. Then I focus on hydrating post-workout meal is so important. We can talk about that in the nutrition episode. So I have a very conscientious post-workout meal, hydration, and then I make sure and I sleep as best as I can, quality sleep, because someone can sleep for 10 hours but wake up exhausted because you got sleep, but you didn't get rest.
Exactly,
so for me, really quick, it's the sauna and or the walk, and then it's hydration, good post-workout meal, and then doing my best to get quality sleep. That works for me almost every time. What about you? Anything different with you? I mean, I know you do pretty much all that verbatim.
Oh, absolutely.
So anything for you that you do differently besides that? I mean,
absolutely. So
that's something I do every week, every day. I try.
Obviously, focus on rest. I do like to use the boob strap. I haven't been using it very much lately, but
I wish I could do that. I just haven't bought one yet.
That thing helps measure your heart rate variability, which is a very good indicator of your actual recovery, because it shows you how well your central nervous system's recovered.
Doesn't it give you a
versus
percentage?
just late onset muscle soreness.
Doesn't it give you a
It
percentage?
gives you a daily percentage based on your activity.
See how well you recovered, which is like
it's a really cool device. I don't think it's definitely not 100% accurate. I think those devices are probably about 65 to 70% accurate.
It's still a good,
but it's
bird's
really
eye
cool.
view.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool device. I highly recommend it. But for me, the sleep is important, and what's even more important than that is we all struggle with this. I am struggling with this, but getting to sleep at the same time every night, whoo, fucking hard, right? Like getting to sleep at the same time and regulating your circadian rhythm is really hard, but it is a huge factor in recovery and the way you feel throughout the day. You hear people talk about that a lot. It's so hard to do with our lives now because we're always watching Netflix at night, or I don't know what people do now, play video games. Probably Netflix for most people.
Stare at the wall.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Up late working, checking emails, whatever people are doing.
Instagram, wasting your time on your phone.
Instagram, sitting in bed, I'm watching YouTube videos. Anyway, so.
Do you wake up at the same time then too most days since you're going to bed? Because you said consistency in your circadian rhythm. I 100% agree.
I do, yeah.
Okay, because I do too. I wake up at the same time, pretty much exactly the same time, and I go to bed within a half hour at the same time every night.
Yeah.
So with you, that's the same.
I try to do that. I'm notoriously a little bit of a night owl.
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah, exactly. No one's perfect here, but for sure, quality of sleep, like you said, and really focusing on getting that, like for me, getting that 8 hours of sleep a night, especially quality sleep. Not just talking about how much, because if you're laying in bed for like 30 minutes, that doesn't count as your sleep. So we'll transition on. It's hard to do here in the Midwest in the winter, but for me, I notice a huge difference when I get sunlight and when I don't get sunlight. Yeah. So that vitamin D is a steroid hormone. It regulates 1,000 different genes in the body. It's important for muscle function and health, heart health. I noticed definitely a decline in vitality in the winter, just a tad.
I agree. Today it was gloomy and cloudy the entire day, which is not a shocker for Kansas City winter. But I also took for granted when I was in San Diego, my recovery walks or just my morning walks, it was always sunny. Yeah. And that is so important though. The vitamin D, I mean, humans benefit so much from the sun.
I'm looking forward to that this summer.
So you do that whenever it's sunny out, you utilize it.
Yeah, when I started doing the walking in the morning, it was kind of starting to get cold out. I think it was really like October.
It gets chilly.
But yeah, so in summer I'm looking forward to getting out in the morning and going outside with my shirt off and just soaking up the rays, getting the vitamin D.
That's huge for recovery. Also mood. It's good for your mental health. Yeah. There's so much, and just you don't have to supplement then with a bunch of vitamin D. Come on. Jacked and tan. I'm jacked, he's tan, we're chill, we're good to go, we're pretty cool, I know. We're joking, we're being sarcastic, we're not cocky D-bags. But then again, jacked and tan. There you go.
We might change the podcast name to that, actually.
Jacked and tan.
Jacked and tan, actually.
You just gotta get way more tan.
I know, exactly.
I gotta get way more jacked. My goal is to look like Bane someday. My fitness regimen right now and recovery methods, all I can think about is Bane. For those of you who don't know, Bane is this. Yeah, right. Beer. Bane is the evil guy in the Batman movie. It was Tom Hardy, and he put on a ton of muscle mass for that role. He had traps for days. I know, right? I'm assuming it wasn't natural. Just assuming, because he put it on really quick, but
HGH.
yeah,
I
gosh.
don't know. I'm kidding.
No, we don't know for
Okay.
sure, obviously, but he had traps so big you could hardly see his neck, his shoulders got, I mean, he's not usually that
You know
big.
what's funny about that though? I like how Batman, like Christian Bale,
Christian Bale in the
was
Batman.
taller.
Oh, I know.
Like if you look at the behind the set photos,
Yeah.
he's taller than Bane.
But you know what's crazy? If they stood face to face and you could not, if you're facing the back of Bane and Batman's right in front of him, you couldn't see Batman because
Yeah.
Bane is so wide, the shoulders and
Yeah.
hips. That's what, but basically, if you just Google a picture, just Google Bane and see what he looks like, yeah, that's basically what I'm going for. It's, some people might think it's ridiculous, but you know what? I felt the best physically and my best fitness, and I was recovering the best when I was in the 250 to 255 range. I'm also 6'5", so it's different if Taylor is 255 pounds
Yeah, that ain't bad.
than someone who's 6'5". I had 10% body fat, or 9% body fat at 255 pounds. That was the best I ever felt physically, mentally. My diet was on point. My recovery is better. Anyways.
Yeah, so back on recovery.
Bane.
Back on recovery. So
the sun.
Yeah, sunlight for me is huge. I notice a massive difference in anything from like vascularity to just mood, and just recovery.
Specifically sun, not
love
tanning beds or lights. I mean,
No,
that's not
tanning beds
natural.
we're not
Natural
into that.
sunlight.
Tanning beds are horrible for you, but
Like this fake floor, inside. I mean, this doesn't do anything.
ugh.
You gotta have natural sunlight. For anyone who doesn't, that might be obvious to some people, but some people might not know.
Right. There is. You probably heard of this. Have I told you about this? It's called a Juve light panel.
I have heard about that.
It's called infrared light therapy. It's supposed to mimic
Yeah,
certain frequencies of light that you would get from the sun.
they actually are implementing that in some hospitals in Europe
That's really
just to help
cool.
with people because, I got so pale and I had to do, but every 2 weeks I had to do injections of vitamin D, iron, all these different things because I lost. My levels were so low from sitting in a bed under fake light all day.
Yeah.
They're actually implementing it in hospitals. It's probably not very cheap right now because it's just
No.
kind of coming out.
Juve's
But
expensive.
that is an option.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in that,
Wanna
anybody
spell
who
it?
has SAD in the winter, or winter depression or whatever, it's called Juve. I think it's JOVV.
Mm-hmm.
JOOVV, something like that.
So one of those two. Just you can.
Called a
Google's your
Juve-
best friend for that.
Juve light panel, infrared light panel. It's
Mhm.
infrared light therapy. They're a little bit expensive. I think they're allowing you to finance them now, though.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
obviously
Anyways.
the best bet is natural sunlight.
Yeah,
But
so
even a better option than nothing is
that's
the,
more the biohacker
yes.
side of things. But so anyways, so vitamin D, sunlight for me, sleep quality, hydration is huge.
yeah, just like
And
I said,
put,
hydration.
yeah, I put Celtic salt in my water. In a lot of my water, it's super high in minerals. It's
Where do you get that?
You can get Celtic salt anywhere. I think Hy-Vee,
Okay.
Health Market has it. You can get it at Sprouts.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Whole Foods probably has it too. But,
It's high in what? I cut you off again.
Celtic salt is the highest. Is a salt that's highest in mineral content. So they tested a bunch of salts. They tested Himalayan pink salt. They tested which Himalayan pink salt doesn't actually come from the Himalayas. Boom.
Isn't that funny?
Mic drop.
It's like
funny,
French
but,
fries don't come from France. What the hell? But yes, and why is mineral content in that Celtic sea
Yeah,
salt?
Celtic sea salt.
Why is it so important to have a high mineral content? What is that? Does that help with your hydration?
Electrolytes. So yeah,
Exactly.
So you
Electrolytes.
need sodium. I think that's a big. We'll talk about that on the next.
Yeah, that could be
podcast.
nutrition, but in general, that
You need
hydration
electrolytes.
helps with recovery.
Electrolytes,
Taylor does
hydration
it,
will
I do
help with your recovery. So those are big ones for me: hydration and sleep, sunlight, rest, of course, like real rest, walking, low level activity, and
I think
those
just
are my biggest ones for me. And
Same with me.
besides nutrition, we can talk about nutrition.
yeah,
recovery
and this
on
is something we
episode.
can talk about too. But just really quick, just to clarify for recovery, I bet a lot of people out there do this for recovery. They take a post-workout scoop of protein powder and a protein shake.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. There are some out there
Yeah, so
that are
yeah.
not that bad. I mean, they're not going to hurt you. There's some though that are so processed and full of chemicals.
So
I
many
would
credits.
not do it.
I get yeah. So I don't typically eat right after I work out anymore either.
I get so hungry. I'm
I,
also a large human, so.
So yeah, I don't know if you know. Yeah, there's a guy named Mark Sisson. He's the owner of Primal Kitchen. I first heard him talking about this, and later some guys like Ben Greenfield. He's talking about you actually get a higher boost in growth hormone response when you wait to eat post workout versus slamming a carbohydrate and protein and creatine drink right after you work out.
And see, I think that's important because when I say I eat right away, I don't eat my big post-workout meal right away.
Yeah.
I just get something in my system, whether it's a banana or just something to just at least make me not feel so weak and craving food. So go ahead.
I think it can depend on the person. I know for me, I don't typically eat right after I work out because you do get a greater response in growth hormone when you wait to eat after you work out. Now, if you're an athlete training hard and you beat the shit out of your body that day in the gym, and you need to beat the shit out of your body the next day in the gym, you need to do it. Say you're doing a hard Metcon and a weightlifting session this day, or multiple workouts, and then you need to do that same thing again because you're training for something, or you're an MMA athlete, whatever. That's when you would utilize that post-workout drink or post-workout meal right away.
Get it in your system right away.
Yeah.
There's that cliche out there, which might actually be true, but everyone, I grew up hearing, oh, you gotta get something in your system within 30 minutes, otherwise your muscles don't absorb. That's kind of a wives' tale, not kind of, it is a wives' tale, but you're exactly right. If you're in an intense training week, training schedule, getting that post-workout shake or some sort of sustenance post-workout as soon as possible is big. If you're doing intense stuff, But in regards to just regular training and longevity, fitness, and recovery, what you say is best? You don't think in fact, it's not you, it's just proven.
Yeah, it's been scientifically proven that it's better to wait post-workout to eat your meal.
How long do you wait?
Like an hour or so.
Okay. Yeah, that's doable.
You get a boost in growth hormone.
Doesn't mean you're not hydrating and drinking water. No. You're just not eating.
At all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't think I need extra HGH or anything, but no, I'm kidding.
I think I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's super important for people to know. And those are little nuggets that not enough people hear about. That kind of thing was probably a game changer for you, I'm assuming.
It definitely helps. I mean, I feel...
And just like anything that we're talking about, it's not going to make a positive change right away, overnight.
Exactly.
Implementing any recovery things Taylor and I talked about, over time, consistently, you will reap the benefits and then some. You'll feel amazing. You just don't get discouraged, just like we talked about your nutrition and your mental health. This is all about consistently, because I was talking about my dad about this. I told my dad, you eating that fudge, we got so much fudge on those treats for holidays. You eating fudge this one night will not make you unhealthy and fat, but you doing it once or twice a week for the next 20 years,
absolutely,
or every day, consistently, that one burger and fries you eat right now, it's not going to change your health off that one meal, but doing that over and over again will slowly start to hurt you and help you. So it's just like with the good
lack
things.
of movement, sitting all the time.
Eating less processed food, eating a healthy diet one day isn't going to all of a sudden make you just a healthy beast, but consistently over time, it will improve your health and then some.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So I think we should go ahead and wrap this up. I think we're...
Yeah, I guess, do you want to sum up just briefly what we talked about?
Yeah.
I mean,
hopefully you guys can take away something from this episode. We talked a lot about, recovery methods. We talked about different strategies
for strength training,
strength
development,
different strength development exercises. We gave you 8 exercises.
We will include those in the details just in case you guys didn't write them down or
we'll
forgot.
include those exercises in the show notes.
Overtraining, injury prevention, and then recovery. We just finished with our recovery. And would you agree with this? Everyone's going to be a little different. There's not one or two specific things everyone should do, and I just want to make that 100% crystal clear for everyone.
No, it's hard. I tried to in this episode include
a little bit of
demographic of people. So I mean, we'll have episodes that are focused more on professional athletes because I love that side of the equation, even more so than the beginner side, although I like to cater to both crowds.
Yeah, and even when you're saying, I think beginner / just people who are working out, using their fitness to become just healthier. Yeah. And I can't, reiterate this enough. Every episode, the jewels, the fire, bombs of knowledge that Taylor and I give, and just anything we talk about, won't help you at all unless you implement it.
Right.
You can listen to this
Right.
4th episode, and then in a year you can listen to our, you can listen to all whatever, let's say we have 50 episodes.
Mhm.
You can listen to all 50. If you don't actually implement and do something about it, your health is never going to get better, and your triad of health, your fitness, nutrition, mental health is going to be far from where it needs to be. And like we say a lot, you got to decide you're going to do something for your health, then commit to it, and then act. So, I say that a lot during my speaking gigs.
Yep.
I can sit here for the next 5 hours, but if you guys don't actually take action, it's not going to do anything. So try to do your best to decide, commit, act on the stuff we've talked about today and on the other episodes. And any famous last words?
I think that's good. I think we'll see you guys here.
Episode 5. Wow.
Yeah.
Feels like we just started this like 2 days ago.
Wait, episode 4. This is
episode 4.
This
But
is
we're
number
next
4.
week. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Next time, as in we'll see episode 5.
This is a little bit of a longer episode, but
Which is great, and
we can talk forever about fitness stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, every episode, you and I we could literally have the recording going for probably 5 hours, and we'd still go over for every episode, mental health, nutrition, fitness. When we have guests, we're gonna have to try to cut it off eventually. Try to go 90 minutes or less, maybe 2 hours. That's for some, but
Yeah.
and that's some exciting stuff. There's some very unique characters and people with different expertise levels and different backgrounds that we'll have on here eventually.
Absolutely.
Just stay tuned for that. And next week we'll talk about nutrition. We won't go into the details about what we're going to talk about, but next week's episode is going to be based on the nutrition aspect of the triad of health.
Absolutely. And with that, we will see you guys here next week. This episode will be up by Wednesday.
By Wednesday night, yep.
And big announcement, we are on Apple now. We're on Apple Podcasts,
Big time.
which is cool.
We're moving on
I don't know if
up.
that's a big announcement. I think it's a big announcement.
We weren't on it for the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
We had to submit a request and stuff. And the cool thing about that is you can rate us 1 to 5 stars.
Yeah.
If you like anything about us, throw us a rating.
Throw us a rating, write us a comment.
Write us a comment.
Is there anything you'd like us to
anything.
talk about? Anything you'd like to see? Let
Our
us know.
our own Instagrams are on the podcast Instagram, which is at Triad Health Pod. So you can either message us through the podcast Instagram
Send us
or our own Instagrams. We will comment back. We will
Goes
talk
down
to
in
you
the
guys. Yeah, it goes down in the D.
Down in the DMs and go down.
So I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, boom. Episode over. Oh, that's a good number, 44. Dope, guys. I'm giving him, I just gave you bunny ears for the last second of the video. That's funny. Screw you, dude. Joke's on you.
We got an hour and 16 minutes.